this thing that we're trying to do here, that is get a radio station off the ground.
Literally.
Yes, literally. Trying to turn it from nothing into something. It's a task that is fraught with peril. But having already been down this road once before, one thing I learned so very many years ago about this is you have to take your little victories wherever you find them, because nobody is on your side. Everybody thinks that what you're doing cannot be done. Everybody thinks that you are bound to fail. So you have to look for your little victories and look for little things that tell you, or that indicate to you, that could suggest to you, however lightly, that maybe you're onto something. Maybe you're on the right track here. And we're faced with, a certain degree of that same thing here in the course of trying to get this thing up and running, trying to get it off the ground.
I find it interesting. I learned a lesson a long, long time ago. I worked at a golf course, and we'd have people come in and work at the golf course as assistant pros, and then they would leave to try to go make it as pros, right? Go be professional golfers, make money playing golf. And inevitably, almost every time it happened, everyone else that worked at the golf shop would be like, watch this guy's going to go fail. And it just was so consistent. And then I talked to one guy I worked with about why in human nature people sort of have that vibe. Like if someone goes to try better themselves, either it's the people who are left behind or the people who don't have the courage to go put themselves out there and say it out loud. This is what I'm going to go try to do. There's like an inherent wish that they fail at it.
Yeah, nobody's on your side here.
And I feel like we've got hit with a little bit of that over the last couple months. It's dissipating now, and it's almost gone, now we're just another radio station. Cool. Let's all have fun together. But I was, I guess, not shocked by it, but a little surprised at the volume of people who you could almost tell are wishing that you fail for having a little fun and trying something.
I think that it, by and large, comes down to when a big sea change happens, it does inspire emotion. And when people are in that cloud of big emotion over something that is different from what they've been used to for a long time, whether it be a guy that they've worked with at the pro shop or whatever, the golf training.
You're doing good.
Or the insurance company.
Yeah. And the guy tries to leave the quote-unquote nurturing biosphere of the, whatever it might be.
We had a nice little used car dealership, and this guy wants to go sell brand new Cutlass Supremes.
Or he wants to go open his own new, car dealership.
That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I think it's just human nature to have anxiety over that, and it kind of it can manifest in, depends on your personality type.
It shows a lot about the person.
Does. That's what I'm saying, is that a lot of people could be like, man, good for you, congratulations, I wish the best for you, and other people can say, well, this is going to fail, this is terrible.
But that's more about themselves. I learned
right.
that day 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I'm like, I don't ever want to be that person. I want to be someone who's like, cool.
I do too. But
it's hard sometimes because maybe naturally that is the reaction.
Well, and also let me ask you this, Michael, having done this once before, how long did it take before the negative noise stopped affecting you, or did it ever affect you? Because I think I'm finally, after 3 weeks on and then 2 weeks off and then coming back to this week, I feel less stress, overthinking, anxiety about it than I had in the 3 weeks that I was on with you guys. It's feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more natural.
It never really, got to me that much. Never really got to me to the point where I'd go home at night and I don't know, take my pants off and sit on the couch in my underwear and get a bottle of scotch in the revolver or anything like that. It never hit me like that. But what I learned,
God, well, me either.
Yeah, no.
What world are you living in?
That may have been a little dramatic.
A revolver,
just spinning the cylinder.
Yeah, spinning the chamber and everything. Yeah. That may have been a little dramatic. But one thing I've learned about this is that probably the best way to combat this is to look for little victories wherever you find them. Just look for them. And even if it's something really small, even if it's some guy that you don't know coming up to you out of the blue and says, hey, man, I dig what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's great. That tells you that you are connecting with them. And that's what this is all about. We are trying to connect with people. And if a guy comes up to you and tells you that, that means that on some level, maybe smaller, maybe greater, somewhere in between, I don't know. But on some level, you have connected with him. And I got something over the weekend that I thought was pretty neat. I know this guy named Kelly Milligan, who, I don't know, I've known Kelly for some years now, and he sent me this. I'm just going to read it to you. So after figuring out the Lou Donaldson track that comes on each night at like 6:30, I added it to the playlist that we had while company was over for Christmas dinner. And when All Shucks popped up on the shuffle, my 14-year-old daughter looked at me and said, Dad, the day is over. But first, you got to go to your special place.
Wow.
And make it a double. Nobody else knew what she was talking about. It made my Christmas.
Damn.
That's excellent.
How old's his daughter? Like
14.
Wow.
Yeah. Aw Shucks, of course.
This.
The title of this track, Lou Donaldson, the sax player who headed up the outfit that did this. And of course, around these parts, this signifies the Sunset Lounge.
Last segment of the day.
Yes. I thought that was very cool.
That's very cool. 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
pretty solid.
I know that's not our target demo or anything like that, but like I say, for us, for this little thing, and for the little ticket back when it was little, the name of the game was just connect with people. Connect with anybody you could, however you could.
All are welcome.
Yes.
Yep.
And it didn't matter who they were, what they were, how old they were, anything. All you were trying to do was connect with people and learn how to connect with people.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, I think, is kind of, and maybe for me and Mikey, because I've had a lot of anxiety, second-guessing, self-doubt about this, because I guess it's okay to talk about this a little bit.
Go ahead.
Are you all right with this? Okay, so Mikey and I obviously
yes.
come from a different position in this business, is that he and I were longtime producers, that we weren't depended upon to carry 4 hours of content and discussion and interaction and connection. You know, he was supporting Norm, and I was the guy that, you know, if I ever carried a segment, it may have been once or twice a week when it was something that I experienced or a story that I needed to tell or a music segment that I was leading. But more often than not, it was a punchline guy, lobbing grenades, you know, maybe steering a conversation into a ditch for comedic purposes. So I've had a lot of self-doubt about, can I even do this? And I think I've tried to overcompensate. I think that I have lacked kind of awareness of what's going on around me and pontificate too much, not allow natural back and forth flow in conversation. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm doing that now. Maybe that is my want. I don't know.
Well, no, I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Okay, so I've had a lot of anxiety about this, and I've expressed some of this to Mikey off the air, and his reply to me is, having been able to do this for a couple months before I got this gig, is just relax and let time take care of it. Like, once some time passes and you just keep doing it every day, keep in mind the things that are bothering you about, what your performance is, but don't necessarily just lament on them and have them at the top of your head at all times, because that's no way to do this job.
May I put it another way?
I would love to, because I've been this close to calling you about it.
You should.
Trust me, maybe I'm doing that now.
All I would tell you is what I've told so many. Let the game come to you.
And that can mean so many different things to many people.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Well, think of it in basketball terms. The first time I ever heard that phrase, they spoke of it in basketball terms. And to me, what that meant was that there were guys, in the game back then who would come off the bench and they would get the first time they got the ball, they would jack up a three, Hadn't touched the ball, weren't in the flow of the game, anything. They just get the ball, okay, it's going up. And that's not letting the game come to you. Get the ball in your hands, dribble a little bit maybe, take a couple bounces, pass to somebody else. You're going to get it back.
What do you do with the balls?
I think it's also about having the self-awareness enough to be patient with yourself and learn what your skill set is in this kind of new world.
Yeah,
because this is a new world for me, man.
Well,
and it is for Mikey as well.
It is. I know.
Yeah. I mean,
know.
I
sit over here every day and watch you guys go through this. I mean, I'm sitting here. I won't say I'm trying to shepherd you through this because I'm not. You don't need that. You've been around it enough to where you know how to do this. But by having said that, you got to do it yourself. You got to fall into your own rabbit traps. You got to make your mistakes. You got to fire up that three that doesn't even hit the backboard, let alone the rim, and just learn from that. And I've been sitting here watching you guys do that, and I think you're both doing admirably. I mean, I look at that as my function around here these days.
Is to look at us admirably.
Yeah.
As the Admiral of
Especially
Trinity
him.
River Navy. Today he's looking at me admirably.
It's not hard to do
I
today,
am.
I'm going to have to
man.
keep this
am.
look just so he has a friendly look in his eye when he looks over here.
Today you are my hero.
Not the scorn that he usually looks at me with.
I don't look at you with scorn.
No, I know. No, I hear what you're both saying. It's interesting to hear you say that, Mike. I'm with you, Danny. I still have I don't even know if it's nerves. And you did do weekend shows, and I know the orphanage was just show up and jay around with Davey
for 2 hours.
2 hours. And that's essentially what Cirque was. We had a little more formatics to it, I think, than you guys did, certainly at the beginning, but we fell into that category of just show up and have fun. And obviously I did tons of fill-in weeks at a time. I knew when I did a full week of the Musers fill-in, I remember at the end of the first week, and I did it probably a dozen weeks, more than that even, but I remember that Friday I was like, you know what? I just did morning drive, massive station, the whole time, one of only 2, maybe 3 voices. I'm like, just like we said yesterday, if TCU can beat Michigan, TCU has a chance to beat Georgia. If I can do that once, I can do it 48 more times in a year, in theory. So I did rely on that, but I was nervous as hell, man, when we started this. And, dude, the self-doubt of how can I possibly do this? Be equivalent to my heroes at the other station or the people like Mike or others that I know do this. But I think it's a leap of faith, and you jump in, and it either happens or it doesn't, sink or swim, whatever.
Well, it's an opportunity is what it is. And opportunities come hard in this world. They come hard in this game. And when you get one, you got to take it. Even if you're not ready for it, you got to take it. And if you're not ready for it, just try to hang in there with it till you get good at it and make some headway at it. Mm-hmm. You guys were both ready for it. Are both ready for it.
It's on the job training for me. That's for damn sure.
Well, it's on the job training for all of us because you never learn all there is to know. And you're never perfect, and you're never as good as you would like to be. But what you do is you take these little victories wherever they pop up, and you appreciate the living hell out of them. And I thought that was a pretty neat story that my pal Kelly Milligan sent me.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And we do get a lot of reaction, from all over. It's a little different. It's a little less so, you know. And I don't know if that's disheartening, but...
What do you mean, like the activity on...
Yeah, on social media, like back at the previous station, you'd make a joke and you get, a dozen people immediately respond, and you get a couple here, it's just a little less so, and that's...
Well, the time will come.
Yeah, that's understandable. And
the time will come.
There are some...
When did this thing go on the air? In October?
Yes, October the 2nd.
The 3rd.
3rd?
Mm-hmm.
3 Oct.
3 Oct. No,
I think it's going to be okay.
Oh, I think it's going to be really good, actually.
Yeah.
And we have some reasons to believe that to be true. You know, some tangible reasons that are popping up of late.
YouTube.com/@SportsGreek